Welcome to Messy Liberation, the podcast that dives deep into feminism, business, and personal growth. I'm Becky Mollenkamp.
And I'm Taina Brown. Get ready for another messy conversation through the eyes of two intersectional feminist coaches.
Let's get messy. Hi.
Hi. Welcome back.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm actually
I haven't seen you forever.
I know. Long time to see. Come here often. It's free.
Behind the scenes stuff. We actually just recorded another episode this one we're recording for the bank in case we need to have something because lifes and it's nice to have some things in the can. So if you're listening to this, who knows how long ago we recorded it. It's just a nice evergreen topic we thought we could talk about anytime. And that is the fun idea of hall passes, which I think most people know what that is.
Yeah.
But Taina, what is it for maybe people who are like, what's a hall pass? I had those in school.
Yeah. A hall pass is an agreed upon person between you and your partner or partners that if you ever get the chance to hook up with this person, you get a pass. Like, no questions asked, you get a pass.
And generally,
it's celebrity.
I think for safety of the relationship, it's generally celebrities who you'll never have the chance to meet. So it's really just this like fantasy, fun kind of conversation.
Yeah, it's like fantasy football.
Yeah, for most people, most couples, I hope it remains a fun conversation where it's just like, oh, who are you? Who do you find attractive? Kind of a way to broach that subject without it having to like get into weird jealousy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who's on your list? I'll let you decide the order, but then I think we should also talk about why.
Oh, for sure. And I think we should, let's just go one at a time. I don't want to reveal them all.
Okay.
What is number one? I'm going to go with
before you start. Also, just want to preface this by saying, like, we understand all of our faves are problematic. Like, this isn't...
Are they? Well, we can talk about the ways that you think they are. I'm curious. That'll be fun to see, too. Like, are some of mine problematic in ways that I don't realize? Maybe they are. But this is all fantasy land, people.
This is all fantasy land, and this is not a pass on their necessarily like moral character or ethics.
Well, then I have one more actually that just reminded me.
Okay.
Also, hall passes can include dead people. Were I alive 50 years ago and I met this person, then I would have a hall pass. So, basically, this is just an episode about celebrity crushes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with the person who's been on my hall pass list the longest, who has never left my hall pass list, and who is like my number one choice. And that is Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. He's such a cutie.
Right. And funny. That's why he's on my list, because he's a brunette. I have a thing for brunettes generally. I like I was going to say I like the tall, dark, and handsome, but Paul Rudd's not tall. And so like right away, he's like, not necessarily the like perfect person on my list. I have loved him since Clueless. I honestly think the time I fell in love with him the most was Wet Hot American Summer, which not everyone has seen, but if you haven't, I recommend it. Very funny, like little campy kind of movie from the people who did The State. Anybody who might remember that back on MTV, you have to be a Gen Xer. But he's so cute in that movie and hilarious. It was the first time I really, because like Clueless, I thought he was cute, but I didn't understand he was so funny. Went on American Summer, I was like, oh my God, this guy is funny. And obviously since then, we have seen all the ways he is through so many appearances he's had on SNL and then in all sorts of movies. But I love a man who can make me laugh. I love a person who can make me laugh.
Yeah.
By the way, I think it's important that we say, like, I think both of us consider ourselves either pansexual, bisexual, something along. So there are men and women on both of our lists. But in general, with men specifically, I tend to like men who are more effeminate, quote unquote, who tend to buck some of the traditional ideas around masculinity.
Yeah. See that.
So like Paul Rudd's a little softer, a little bit of a dad bod.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I generally, although one of my other people will not fit this mold either, but I generally like men who are a little softer, who seem a little sweeter, who are like funny and not like that, like icky, masculine, quote unquote, like bro kind of guy. And Paul Rudd just fits the bill.
He does. I remember when they cast him as Ant-Man, when that news.
I've not seen, by the way, and I feel bad about.
Oh, he's so good in it.
I don't like superheroes, but maybe I need to watch it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched this because he's not supposed to be a superhero. That's why I love him.
Yeah. Yeah. And that at the time I was like, I mean, I still like my Marvel movies, not as much as before, but at the time I was like hardcore into the MCU and like following like the storyline and the multiple storylines and all of that. And I remember texting one of my besties, Jose, and I was like, oh my God, they cast Paul Rudd. Like, how do we feel about this? Like, do we think he's going to do a good job? Like, it's going to be weird? Is it going to be campy? Is it going to be corny? And I was pleasantly surprised at how they made it work. I think he's just like perfect in that role, and he adds a layer of levity to those movies, like that whole entire universe, that I think makes it more approachable and relatable. But yeah, I like Paul Rudd. He's not on my list, but I do like him. I feel like he has a really good ass. Like, I've never actually seen his ass, but I feel like he's probably like, I don't know, I just feel like his body type, like he probably has like a really good ass. And not to like completely objectify him or anything.
That's what this all is. I mean, I don't know the man, right? So like, I'm basing it on persona. So there is the personality piece from what I can tell based on what I've seen. And I think one of the reasons I like him too is because I've seen enough beyond just movies and stuff that I've actually seen interviews with him and things that give me a glimpse into what I feel like his actual personality is and not just characters he plays. But honestly, I mean, with any of this, a lot of it is just based on the physical because we don't know them. We can't know them.
That's true. That's true.
Objectify away. And by the way, I personally feel as women, we get to objectify all we want, right? Like, I just sort of feel like that is like, until we live in a world where women aren't objectified, then like, don't make me live by a different standard. Fuck that. If you're going to, I'm objectified all the time, have been my whole life. I get to do it back without feeling guilty and know like I should be better. I get tired of the whole, like, you should be better than them. That's an aside. Yeah. Okay. So tell me your first person.
So my first person is, this isn't in any particular order, but since we're talking about Paul Rudd and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, my first person is Robert Downey Jr. My God.
Well, listen, I just watched a movie with him last week. It was an older movie with Zach Galifianakis called Due Date. Have you seen it? They travel across the country, try to get to his wife's delivery in time, whatever.
Zach Galifianakis plays himself, basically.
The guy we see in most movies, although from what I've learned about him, I don't actually think that's him. Like, he's actually quite shy and reserved, and like everything I've seen about him outside of the characters he plays is very different, but that's neither here nor there. But this movie was probably like 2011-ish, so we're talking 10, almost 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's an older movie.
And because I've seen him lately, and I'm like, I don't know, he looks like somebody who's smoked his whole life. He kind of has that skin, whatever. But when I saw him in this movie from 2011, so it depends on what era Robert Downey Jr. you're talking about. But 2011 Robert Downey Jr., I was like, oh, I haven't really thought of him in that way. And I was looking at him going like, he's kind of sexy because he's kind of got the same thing that I was. He's got a little bit of a soft body. I mean, he's still a little more, he's obviously more fit than most dads, but like, you know, he's not like big buff man. He's soft guy. And he was funny in the movie. And what I love about him is he always seems to be very quick, like sharp. He's got like sharp tongue and this like, you can tell like he seems like somebody who's got a sharp intellect. Yes.
That's one of the things I love about him. I really started to get into him through watching the Iron Man movies and the Marvel movies. But even Robert Downey Jr. from when like he was younger and on like cocaine and shit, like he's just always been incredibly handsome. Like those eyelashes, like that intellect, that sense of humor, like that dry, sarcastic sense of humor. It's the whole package for me. Like it's a bit
of a rebel. You like the rebels?
Sometimes, not all the time. That's
probably what turns me off about him, honestly, because I'm a bit more of a goody two shoes in a way. And I kind of like, again, but going back to like the whole soft guy thing, like sweeties. I like soft sweeties, and he doesn't seem like a soft sweetie, but I do see the physical attraction.
Yeah. And he's funny. I think I like his sense of humor.
I do think he seems funny. Yeah. I mean, humor. What's so interesting to me about those men who are the big buff, whatever, meathead kind of guys, they think they're doing it for women. Generally, I'm getting very heteronormative here, but in those straight kind of relationships, those men who care, who want attention from women do all these things that they theoretically are doing to get attention from women. When the truth is, almost every woman I know, including like the most beautiful women I've met, what they want is a funny man.
Yeah.
They want a man who's not afraid to say, I love you. Like, you know, a man who's in touch with his emotions, who's like emotionally intelligent, who's funny, who like does nice things for you. I rarely hear women saying that anything that they want resembles that whole like toxic masculine thing. And it's so interesting that they keep doing that in the theory for us when we don't. But then again, I guess the same is true in the opposite in the heteronormative relationships where women are often doing all this like makeup and stuff. And theoretically, it's about getting attention from men. When every man I've ever talked to in general is like, I usually prefer women without makeup or less makeup. Like I like natural looks and that kind of thing. So I don't know. It's like we're doing it for each other and not for the romantic part.
It's a weird dynamic. Okay.
Right.
Who's your next?
So now I'm going to switch mode and talk about a woman because men I'm attracted to generally are more like effeminate, quote unquote, who are a little more like those softy, sweetie men. When I'm attracted to women, it's women who are a little more masculine and not like super feminine and showing up in that way. Like I typically like women who have like a rougher edge to them that I feel like are going to kind of like dominate me or like be the one to sort of be in charge. And like, anyway, so the prime example for me, and really probably the first time that I had my own kind of real awakening to like, I don't think I'm only attracted to men, is Catherine Manning, who is from the L Word, which is a perfect place to come to an awakening around. Being attracted to women.
She's the actor who plays Shane.
Yes, Shane. And I've seen her recently too, doing podcasts with her bestie from that show. And they have a podcast. Can't remember the name of it. Sorry. But I've seen her more recently. And I still was like, oh no, it's still there. I mean, I was hardcore into Shane. Like it wasn't just like I kind of find her, I was just like, oh my, like it was this complete washing over me of like, I would die to be with Shane. It's, you know, not as intense now, but at that time, back in whenever the show ran, it was like probably like early 2000. But anyway, there's something about the way. See, now it's so funny because she's so different in my mind from Paul Rudd. Like they couldn't be more different. Even though they're both brunettes. Going back to my brunette thing, generally brunette. But she's like a bit of the rebel. Don't usually like the rebels, right? Her body type is very like super slender, like
very different from Paul Rudd.
Yeah, not soft at all. Like, and she's very like tough and like, but I don't know what it is. And there's been a few other women that are not like celebrities, but I've seen on like TikToks and stuff that I'm like, I have that same. There's just something about that type of woman. Catherine Manning is like the prototype of the kind of woman that I'm like.
Yeah,
it just does it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about her.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's attractive. I remember watching the O Word and just with the knowledge that like everybody was like so hot for Shane, and I'm like, she's all right. Like she's cute. I think.
Are you calling me a basic bitch?
No, not at all. Actually, I'm calling myself a basic bitch because like when I was watching the O Word, my crush was on Alice. The blonde, So
that's her bestie, right?
Yeah, that's her bestie.
They're the ones that did the podcast together now.
Yeah.
So I see that though, because she's like, if she were a man, she would be my ideal man because she's sort of that soft sweetie.
Yeah.
But when it comes to women, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
it's strange.
It's different. Yeah, it's different. So my next person is someone that my wife and I both have in common, and that is Charlize Theron. And
she's beautiful.
She's so beautiful. Like I'm speechless talking about.
I mean, flawless. She's really a flawless beauty. I mean, just and in like a statuesque.
She was a ballerina before she got into acting.
Yeah, I mean, she has this very like classic, I don't know if that's the right word, but like this distinguished kind of beauty that you could see. Like I could see her being a woman who ages just in such an elegant form, this elegant way. Like she'll be a Helen Mirren kind of.
Yeah.
She ages. She's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Not at all my type, I can objectively look at her and say, like, yes, like in the same way I could look at a piece of art and say, like, I can see why this is absolutely gorgeous, but it wouldn't fit my
But I'm not
home.
going to hang it in my house.
It's not my style, right? And that's how I feel about her. Like, yeah, my husband, I'm sure, is like 100% down on the Charlize Theron train. But yeah, I don't know. But she is gorgeous. Like,
she's gorgeous. She's so beautiful. And she is like, she has an air of mystery about her too, that I think is alluring. And then, have you seen Atomic Blonde?
I haven't.
It's about the Cold War, and she plays like a double agent. And she kicks so much ass in that movie. Like, oh my God.
Alluring is a great word for her too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just something about women like that who there's something about the way they carry themselves. There's this
very
elegance, grace, confidence, but also like there's this sort of a reserve to it where you know they're holding back. They're not like, you know, you and I were just like, I'll tell you whatever you fucking want to know. Like we're not, there's not that level of like comfort. And it's not like, she's not like a cozy sweater.
No.
She was like a beautiful black dress or something, right? You wouldn't, like, I won't pull that all the time. Yeah, but I can see it. I know why people are so attracted to her. Although I have, like, there have been some random things I've seen with her where she does seem to have a sense of humor and be, you know.
She did a movie with Seth Rogen.
That's right.
Yeah, which was surprising. And I was like, I don't think I've seen this side of her as an actress before.
I think I watched that one. Like, they fell in love. And it was like this weird, and the whole idea
was like the president, or she was like,
And it was like, how would these two people fall in love? Which I kind of don't love that premise for a movie in general, because it just really plays into a lot of bullshit about what people want in relationships. But she does seem to have a bit of sense of humor, but I would love to see more of that side of her. If I saw more of that, then I might be more attracted. I think that the thing that you kind of like, that like reserved mystery, like that's the stuff that I'm like, no, I don't need. I
need all the cards on the table.
Yeah, let's just be like with Catherine Manning. I had this, and by the way, I'm very explicitly attracted to Shane, I think, and that's okay.
Yeah,
like because I don't know much about Catherine Manning to know if she's like Shane at all. But that Shane character, like, there was some mystery, but also I felt like she was the kind of person to be pretty blunt, right? Like, there was this, like, forcefulness that I don't feel with Charlize. So, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go, now I'm going to go back to men and talk about how we as humans, like, this whole idea of having a type cracks me up because, like, sure, I have a type until I don't, right? Because I have a type until I don't, because now I've told you I like, like with men, I like soft bods and I like this like sweetie patootie thing. And my other, if you're watching YouTube,
your dog wants to play,
demanding attention. But my next crush, I don't think is that at all, because he has a hard bod and a gorgeous hard bod. And I think he oozes masculinity because he was being considered for James Bond. I don't feel like there's anything more like masculine. Role, right? So Idris Elba, who my husband, he knows very much about Paul Rudd and Idris Elba both, because anytime anything comes up with either of them, he's just like, oh God. But I don't know, like, first of all, the accent. I love an accent. I really do. And he's also just like, he's perfect. I feel like he's like
DJ too. Like,
well, that part's fun. Yeah. But I feel like he's a bit away of like a Charlize Theron or George Clooney, where just like objectively, even if someone's not your type, those are the kind of people we all can just look at objectively and say,
they're like, yeah, they're attractive.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anyone who could just look at Idris Elba and not say,
yeah,
I get it. He's flawless. He is a flawless, beautiful human.
Yeah.
His wife he recently married is gorgeous. That was really upsetting when he got married, because I was holding out of this belief
for you and a whole lot of other people.
I know, just maybe. Yeah, there's I think he can be a little funny, but he's a little more of like, I honestly would compare him the most to kind of Charlize Theron out of these people. He's got kind of that same, a little bit of this allure. Like allure, this mystery, this elegance, this classic look, this like objectively beautiful, which is not normally my type at all, but there is something about him that I cannot resist.
Yeah. I can see that. He's definitely not my type, but like you said, objectively, like I can see, yes, he is a sexy person, but I'm just not into him the way that most people, or my friends think I'm fucking crazy for not being into him.
What is that? Why is it that I can actually draw clearly the parallels between him and Charlize? right? Like, I feel like they are at a similar kind of class of person. Like,
yeah.
Why is it that I find one attractive and not the other? And why is it that I find Idris Elba so attractive and Paul Rudd, who are so completely different? Like, what is it that explains what we find attractive as people when it feels so random?
It does feel random. I have a theory that there are different things in other people that feel like they're meeting specific needs that we have. And that's why it's so random. It's like, this person can fill that need, but this person can't, but they can fill another need. But I don't know if that's true. I haven't done a study.
Well, now we're talking here largely physical attraction.
Yeah.
Right. So,
because like you said, we don't know these people. So,
right. So what I'm about to say is not going to necessarily be true, but I did think it was interesting because I heard another podcast I was listening to last night, in fact, called We Made It Weird, in case you're interested, or You Made It Weird, but it was the We Made It Weird edition on Fridays. It's this couple that talks about everything. But they were talking about attraction, and someone had said, I think it was Dr. Becky. She's pretty famous, apparently. I only know because we share the same first name. But she was saying that what generally accounts for who we end up being attracted to or in relationships with is because they are familiar in a way that, like, we know that they're going to help us repeat the patterns we're used to. Like, if for me, and generally it's rooted in this like attachment theory. So my attachment style is anxious avoidant. So I would generally be attracted to people who are going to allow me to play out my anxious avoidant patterns. Those are the patterns I know. So, like, your attachment style, the kind of people you end up relationships with are going to be people that kind of create that comfort, even if it's not comfortable, but like that comfort or the known of
the familiar
to play out that pattern.
Yeah, even if it's not healthy.
Yeah, it's not healthy necessarily, although apparently it's also kind of healthy because it allows you to, like, sort of deal with deal with those issues. Anyway, probably not the same thing here. Although I wonder, like, there's a part of me that's like, I wonder if it would be because Idris Elba, because of the way he is, like, in so many ways feels unattainable and not my type or whatever, and it would allow me to kind of have the avoidant piece of my
exactly.
style. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Enough pop psychology.
Yeah. I have to look at that podcast. So I'm going back to a man also. And this is somebody that I have had a crush on since the 90s. And he is in his 70s now, which I just found out. And it looks like he's in his 50s. And he just has so much swag. So much swag. But this person is Jeff Goldblum.
Okay, see, now I can't. I can't even get it. Let alone, like, so far we're clicking. We may not necessarily have the same attraction, but, like, I can say I get it. This is one I cannot get. I don't think you're going to convince me to get. I see him as, like, a Revenge of the Nerds kind of guy, and, like, I am just. I mean, I don't know. It's not even true because, like, I can see, there's nerds that I could get into. It's more like he's a geek than a nerd, and I guess that, like, geeky thing isn't for me. His affectation with his voice.
Oh, I love it.
You might as well tell me you're attracted to Christopher Walken or something. Like,
they're so different. They're so different.
What is it? Tell me what it is. I will
say Christopher Walken does. I feel like I'm not attracted to him, but I do feel like he does have a certain swag. And I think the swag is that they're just who they are, and they do not give two shits what other people say. Like, Jeff Goldblum, honestly, up until maybe 10 years ago, I thought he was fucking gay because of his style, and he just felt like such a flamboyant person in a very subtle way. And then I found out he's straight, or at least straight presenting, because he's married to women, and he's only been married to women as far as the general public know. And I was like, you're queer? Not even a little bit? And I think his, again, I love his sense of humor. I love that he just is who he is. I think his skin is just gorgeous.
He does have good skin.
Like, he looks so much younger than he is, which indicates to me that he is not a problematic person. Like, problematic people do not age well.
Interesting. Well, that brings, because I immediately go to Brad Pitt, deeply problematic. Doesn't look great.
Yeah. So anytime, like, Jurassic Park, Independence Day, recently in the Marvel movies. I didn't like him in Wicked because his hair was doing this weird, like, styled thing. But you look at him in the movie Wick and you're like, that man is going to be 73 this year. And he moves and acts like he's still like middle aged, like he's still like 50 something, you know, like he's so just, and I saw a TikTok of him reading out like thirst tweets on like BuzzFeed or something about, you know, about himself. And they had to explain what some of the terminology was to him. Because he's a fucking granddad.
Well, that's just it. I think I would love him as a dad or an uncle or maybe a friend. I think even a friend might be a bridge too far for me, but I could totally see him as like a father-y figure in my life.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having sex with that man. I just
oh
can't.
My God. He is daddy. He is daddy. I actually, when I was younger, this was maybe 15 years ago, I had a sex dream with Jeff Goldblum.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about the people I've had sex dreams with because sometimes I'm like, I don't even understand. And it freaks me out that I had a sex dream about that person. Okay, well, this was a departure for me around being able to say, I get it, Taina. I don't get it. I get it if you're into daddies, I guess, because I do see him as a daddy, but as in a daddy, not a daddy, just for me. Yeah. But I do appreciate very much that he does seem to be very comfortable in his own skin. And I could see where that would be attractive.
Mm-hmm. It's just like confidence again. I think.
He does not seem like somebody who gives a shit. Like he's going to show up. Like I think he knows that that affect with his voice is like, I think he uses it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Plays with it and has fun with it because I think he just doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, I talk funny. Well, I can't even do a Jeff Goldblum, obviously, but he doesn't care. And that is nice. It's attractive to me in a I respect you way, not a I want to fuck you way.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do one more man that may be similar because this is a person who's dead. I still have like a deep attraction to him despite him being dead. Actually, I have two men that fall into this category that are both probably deeply problematic. One I know for certain is the other one I'm going to add in. Both who were lifelong smokers, had leather skin. Like, I can't even really explain why I am attracted to them, except that I think it's that same, like, they ooze confidence, swagger, don't give a fuck. I like justice, like they walk in the room like they own it kind of guys. Both of them are 70s icons, 60s, 70s icons. One is Dean Martin, the singer, actor, Rat Packer, not Brat Packer. And the other is Richard Dawson, who people might know from Hogan's Heroes, but was the host for a long time was a contestant and then a contestant for a long time on Match Game, if you know that show from the 70s, and then was the host for a long time on The Price is Right. No, not The Price is Right, Family Feud, and was known for kissing all the women on the show. That's how a lot of people who are younger may know him. So you may not know him at all. Deeply problematic. But both of them, Dean Martin more so, but Richard Dawson too. I watched these men on these old shows. I had a big phase of my life where I watched a lot of Match Game from the 70s. I thought it was a funny show and so different. Like, it's just interesting as like study of time to see how celebrities then behaved and the things that were like risque and then also things where it was like, whoa, that they wouldn't say that now because it's so problematic. But they both just, I don't know, there's something, they might be my daddy kind of daddy. I wouldn't want either of them as a dad because they both appear to me to be deeply emotionally unavailable. Would be certain they would both cheat on me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sure. You know, I think they would. I mean, Dean Martin's famous for singing the whole "Baby It's Cold Outside" like this rape song. Whatever. Like, I just think neither of them would. I think they would treat me like a dame.
Yeah.
Right? Like a broad.
Yeah. Which is attractive in its own right. And
right, there's something about that. Like, I also think, though, they'd be the kind of men who would, like, wine me, dine me, 69 me. Like, these men who would, like, they know how to treat a lady in the moment to make her feel sexy and special and, like, just cared for.
Yeah.
But then
like tomorrow morning. Yeah.
But then, they're not going to remember my name.
They're fuckboys.
Yeah, they were the 70s fuckboys. And I think there's something about that does feed into my attachment style thing.
Yeah.
Of like being avoidant of any real emotion, being able to sort of walk away from this thing so that I don't get caught into something that hurts me. So yeah, interesting. I don't know what that is. Very different from the others, but that's like, it's its own little category of men.
Yeah.
It's a category of like men who are like that are more of that traditional toxic masculine kind of thing. There is something about it that's a little bit like, I think it's my like bad boy thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my last group.
Yeah. I could see Dean Martin. I don't know the other guy.
Okay, well,
I could see Dean
similar
Martin.
kind of a category.
Voice, you know, like he's such a cad.
I know. Like there's something. I'm so much more a Dean Martin than a Frank Sinatra person. And my husband, like anytime either of us are making any sort of Italian food, he runs and puts on a Dean Martin album, and he knows it gets me kind of like. There's something about his music because I'm attracted to him and all of that kind of gets me like a little like juiced up, you know, like like I'm starting to feel the mood here.
Your husband knows what he's doing.
Oh, he's no dummy. He uses my hall passes to his advantage.
So I'm going to go back to a woman for the last one that I'll share. And this is similar in that it's kind of like its own little like niche for me. Like I have a thing for redheads. Not all redheads.
Interesting.
But most redheads.
I don't like to be discriminatory. But redheads are a category I generally I'm not interested in. What's interesting is I know who you're about to say, and she's not a natural redhead.
I know, but like she plays a redhead in a lot of movies. So I'm like, not Ed Sheeran redhead, but like Emma Stone redhead. Like Emma Stone is.
What about Nicole Kidman redhead?
Not Nicole Kidman either.
Yeah, there's something different there.
She's too
Ed Sheeran
thin for me.
Also the like pasty
pale, yes.
Yeah, like ghost like maybe because she's not a natural redhead, she doesn't feel that same kind of ghost appeal kind of thing.
Yeah. Although in what was the movie?
Well, yeah, but she wasn't a redhead in that movie. She was a brunette.
She what was the movie called?
I know the one that just came out that they won all the Oscars for.
But yeah, she's got this like goofy, quirky kind of like personality. Like I remember watching her in
Poor Things, by the way. It was Poor Things.
Poor Things, that's what it was called.
She was super pale on that,
yeah. What was the Easy A was the movie.
That's a long movie, yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching her in Easy A and just being just like, oh my gosh, she's so funny. She just seems like such a cool person that I'm just like instantly want to be in her orbit. And so
that I can see as a friend. She's very different than Charlize. Charlize is like this rarefied air kind of person that you like.
Yeah.
And then Emma feels like the girl next door kind of.
Yeah.
And I love girl next door kind of girls for like I totally appreciate that. Like, I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know about sexual attraction. Certainly a friendship attraction to that kind of person. Because she feels like somebody you could have a real conversation with.
Yes, she does. And so I think my attraction with her, although I feel like it is a sexual attraction, but I feel like it's more like demisexual, as opposed to like the Robert Downey Jr., Jeff Goldblum, Charlize Theron, where it's like full throttle.
Can't believe he's in that same category of full throttle, but okay.
So, but yeah, she's funny. Like, I want to spend the afternoon making out with her. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want to like have sex with her. If that's never possible in any timeline. I feel like I just like want to chill with her and like have a makeout session or something. You know what I mean? Like
I'd be willing to have a makeout session with any of the people we talked about except Jeff Goldblum. Would I have a makeout session with Jeff Goldblum? I'm trying to think of any point in his career. So not even 7-year-old, but any point of Jeff Goldblum.
Stay Jeff Goldblum?
I just can't picture it. Any of the people I could picture. Sure. He's the outlier for me today. I don't know about how you feel, but like he's for me by far the biggest outlier of like, that was a left field choice. I love that you made it. I wish I had one. I don't feel like any of mine were as left field. Did you think so?
I feel like I probably would not with Paul Rudd. I feel like he would be a sloppy kisser.
How dare you? How dare you?
I feel like I want to get beers with Paul Rudd. Like I want to hang out with him.
I do too.
Him, but like,
and then I want to go home and make out and all the things.
Yeah, no.
But I also like when you look at the F, Marry, Kill, he would fall more into the marry category than the F category. Like fuck, marry, kill. I would put him more in that marry than fuck.
Yeah.
But because I feel like I just feel like Paul Rudd could be my life partner. Like, he feels like a life partner. And I would still want to make out with him and have sex with him, but I do see where it would probably become a bit routine. But that's okay.
Yeah. Like
in
This Is 40. The movie This Is 40.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see the point in our lives where I walk in and I'm shitting and I'm just like, God, you're annoying.
It's just another day.
But also, like, I'd be okay. I'd be happy with that. And here's the good news of all of this. Of all the people, Paul Rudd is the one who most reminds me of my own husband. And the fact that I also, like, in so many ways, in that, like, I want to spend my life with you. I could also totally, like, I could see where you can be annoying. Yeah. But, like, even in the times when I would see you being annoying, like, I still think you're cute. Like, I think Paul Rudd's really cute. I think my husband's cute.
Yeah.
He's just so cute that I just, like, love him so much. And so, the other people feel more like affairs.
Yeah. My wife, I think, is between, like, Jeff Goldblum and Emma Stone. Like, she's, like, goofy and quirky and funny, and I just want to, like, be your best friend and hang out with you and make out with you. But then, like, she also has, like, this, like, I feel like Jeff Goldblum has, like, this dark side.
Yeah.
It's just, like, under the surface. So that's really sexy to me. Well, you need to watch Ant-Man. And also, you need to know that, like, his character in Ant-Man writes a book called The Little Guy. And that book you can actually buy at any bookstore. Like, they made it a real book.
I will
like,
look
it's
into
not written by Paul Rudd. It's written by the character in Ant-Man.
I have been wanting to watch Ant-Man forever. I don't know. Every time I'm like, even though I love Paul Rudd and I watch everything he's in, there's just superhero movies are so not my thing. But I'm going to make a commitment to watch it. And at some
it's
point,
more of a comedy.
Okay, I will report back on what I think. And I will try to expand my mind around Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. And if you have a hall pass that we did not mention, let us know. Messy Liberation.
We'd love to know people's hall passes. If you're watching YouTube, put them below. And if you're listening, email us, messyliberation@gmail.com, and just subject line, hall pass. Just tell us who they are. And I would love to see what other people are thinking. And also, if you think any of ours were totally wrong or totally right, let us know. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Messy Liberation.
Will you please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen?
I know people say that all the time. And if you're like me, often you just go on to the next podcast. But truly, taking that moment to do that will really help us reach a wider audience.
Thank you so much for your support and for listening today.
Until next time.